Let's start with the class. This is the topic today, fringe benefits. Everything you need to know about fringe benefits in HRM. Fringe benefits are supplementary compensation made in addition to wages, the object being to stimulate the interest of the workers and to make the job more attractive and conducive. Fringe benefits include status like cars, entertainment facilities, holidays, foreign travel, telephone, security, insurance, medical facilities, children's education, and work benefits like office accommodation, secretarial services, management training, company scholarships, etc. Key benefits are the benefits such as share schemes, profit sharing, and retirement counseling, house purchase. According to ILO, fringe benefits has been described as wages are often augmented by special cash benefits by the provisions of medical and other services or payments in kind that form part of the wage for expenditure on the goods and services. In addition, workers commonly receive such benefits and holidays with pay, low cost meals, low rent housing, etc. Such additions to the wage proper are sometimes referred to as fringe benefits. Benefits that have no relation to employment or wage. Network issue. In this article, we will discuss about fringe benefits to employees. Meaning, fringe benefits are supplementary compensation made in addition to the wages, the object being to stimulate the interest of the workers and to make the job more attractive and conducive. They are, as a matter of the fact, indirect benefits. As to their nature, we can say they are neither mere fringes nor peripheral wage trimmings, but a substantial part of the wages and salary structure. To quote Belcher, these benefits are any wage cost not directly connected with the employee's productive efforts, performance, service, or sacrifice. Webster's define fringe as an ornamental border, an edging, trimming, or a margin. However, these benefits are aimed at attracting and retaining efficient and contented workforce through boosting up of their real earnings. There are wide variations in opinions as to the benefits covered by the term fringe benefits. We quote Huff, Fisher, and Chapman, according to whom the classification of fringe benefits are premiums for the time worked, pay for the time not worked, employee benefits, and employee activities. Here, the government has prescribed certain minimum amenities to be provided by the employers to workers. Indirect benefits are the fringe benefits, but it is very difficult to distinguish between direct wages and indirect benefits. For instance, conducive working conditions benefit the employer directly. Overtime wage paid for the work done cannot be described as indirect benefit. Government defines employee benefits as those benefits supplied by an employer to or for the benefits of an employee which are not in the form of wages, salaries, and time-related payments. According to him, benefits are basically of two types, fringe and key. Fringe benefits include status, again, security and work benefits, Key benefits are benefits such as the share schemes, profit sharing, and the retirement counseling house purchase. Benefits afford better living standard to the employees and offer opportunities to the employer to have more productivity and production. So they are relevant and useful for an organization provided it can afford to extend fringe benefits. In terms of cost, these benefits constitute the real total cost to the company of employing the employee. It cannot be denied that the fringe benefits are regarded as a bonus and such they create a favorable attitude towards a particular job and company. Benefits that have no relation to the employment or wages should not be regarded as fringe benefits, even though they may constitute a significant part of the worker's total income. This is fairly obvious in the case of the public parks, sanitization services, and the public and the fire protection. Now, what are the examples of the fringe benefits? Statutory benefits, the Employee Provident Fund Scheme, gratuity or pension schemes, and the Employee State Insurance Scheme. Non-statutory benefits, payments towards Employees Provident Fund Scheme, gratuity and pension fund contribution, medical facilities, canteens, uniforms, and recreational facilities. Fringe benefits also cover profit and other kind of bonus such as the attendance bonus, service bonus, and gratuities. Loans for house purchases, leave travel concession, children's free education, fair price shop for essential commodities, loans for purchase of car. Benefits in spite of some of these drawbacks have come to stay. They have now become an important part of the compensation plans. So far as the corporate management is concerned, it is necessary to take several broad policy decisions regarding wages. One fundamental issue is the breakup of the compensation package. Several options are available: high-low basic wage, high-low fringe benefit package, high-low retirement benefits. The management has to consider whether to pay just above or below or at par with a going wage rate in the area. The bonus act is a matter for consideration by the corporate management. To a large extent, such issues are decided by the value system and managerial style of the corporate management and how they view wages as contributing to the organization's mission. Again, there is a term fringe benefit in the sense of all non-monetary benefits and services come to be widely used in spite of its limited value in describing the actual prices. David V. Belcher say the large proportion of total compensation that such benefits represent appears inadequately accounted for by a name implying trimming or frills. Some obvious limitations in the use of the term, it come to be variously interpreted. The National Industrial Conference Board USA has defined fringe benefits as payments to workers over and above the wages paid on the basis of time worked or production completed. Some subsequent interpretations emphasizes such elements as follows: employers' labor cost beyond wages and salaries, compensation beyond wages and salaries requiring no additional productivity, and compensation benefits or services not related to the employee performance. Despite these differences in the approaches, the term has continued to be in wide usage even today. However, more recent scholars and practitioners have preferred to use in its place such as indirect compensation, employee benefits, and services, denoting all non-monetary benefits, services, and facilities made available to employees over and above monetary payments. Thus, fringe employee benefits may be defined as all monetary benefits, services, or facilities, and some fringe monetary benefits made available to the employees in addition to their usual and established monetary compensation, such as regular wages, salaries, cash allowances, incentive payments, and bonuses. These benefits may take various forms and in varying dimensions and made available to the employees under varying conditions. Fringe benefits in HRM. According to the Employers Federation of India, fringe benefits include payment for non-working time, profits and bonuses, legally sanctioned payments on social security schemes, workmen's compensation, welfareness, and the contributions made by the employer under such voluntary schemes as cater for the post-retirement medical, educational, cultural, and recreational needs of the workmen. The term also includes a monetary equivalent of the free lighting, water, fuel, etc., which are provided for the workers, and subsidized housing and related services. Thus, fringe benefits include both monetary and non-monetary benefits given to the employees during as well as post-employment period. Now, thus fringe benefits include both monetary and non-monetary benefits given to the employees during as well as post-employment period. These benefits are connected with the employment but not to the employee's contribution to the organization. Fringe benefits in HRM. Many years ago, benefits and services were labeled fringe benefits because they were relatively insignificant or fringe components of the compensation. However, the situation now is different as these have more or less become important part of a comprehensive compensation package offered by the employers to employees. The main purpose of fringe benefit is to increase the financial position of the employees. They include the items which are over and above the normal earnings. Considering the above point of view in the mind, important objectives of the fringe benefits are as follows. Now, what are the objectives of the fringe benefits? To recruit and retain the talented personnel in the organization. अगर हम उनको fringe benefits देंगे तो obviously बात है कि हम talented जितने लोगों को skills को retain कर पाएंगे अपने organization में. Next, to maintain sound industrial relations and avoid unrest in the organization. To identify unsatisfied needs of the employees and convert those into satisfying needs by utilizing appropriate steps. To protect social security of the employees during old age by providing provident fund, gratuity and pension. So as per Article 43 of the Constitution of India, all workers should be given a living wage conditions of work, ensuring decent standard of living and fuller enjoyment to ensure social and cultural opportunities. Therefore, fringe benefits act as a social level to the employees because workers is not a commodity. As an active participant in the program of the economic development and social reconstruction. To develop a sense of belongingness among employees of the organization is the objective of the fringe benefits. To comply various legislations related with the fringe benefits which are formulated by the central and the state government. To ensure cooperation, loyalty and faithfulness among employees of the organization. To develop brand image of the organization in the eyes of the public. The special characters of the fringe benefits are as follows. Fringe benefits are the supplementary form of compensation. Such benefits are paid not as incentives but based on membership of the employees with the organization. Benefits are linked to performance. These are extended as the condition of the employment. Such benefits raise the standards of living of the employees, therefore contributes to the enrichment of the quality of work life. Some of the benefits may be statutory while others may be voluntary. Payment of fringe benefits in India are primarily made for the reasons like employee demands, presence of trade union, employers' preference to motivate employees as social security measures, and finally to create a motivating environment. Now, fringe benefits importance to employees and employers. Fringe or employee benefits are important not only for the employers and employees but also for the community. A brief mention of these will be appropriate for discerning their importances. Some of the popular employee benefits comprise the following: medical and sickness benefits, workmen's compensation, insurance, provident fund, pension, maternity benefit, housing accommodation with ancillary facilities, transport facility, leave travel facility, and education facilities for the children of the employees. These benefits may be provided under the company policy or under the agreement with the union or as a result of legislation. So what are the importance for the employees? The benefits are important to the employees for the following main reasons. They enhance the real earnings of the employees and enable them to save money which they would otherwise have spent in the absence of these benefits. Monetary value of these benefits has for long not been taxable under the income tax law, thus enhancing employees' living standards. However, during more recent years, the value of these benefits is adjusted in the income tax payable by individual employees. But many of these do not come into the ambit of the income tax deductions. Availability of the social security benefits in the event of such contingencies as unemployment, sickness, disability, old age, maternity, and so on mitigates the worries of the employees regarding apprehended insecurity. Many benefits, particularly medical and refreshment facilities, are conducive to the protection of the health of the employees and enhancement of their efficiency. Housing accommodations with ancillary amenities and transport facilities result in saving of time and add to the employees' convenience. Many benefits are made available to the employees' family members, which promote congenial family life and strengthen employees' motivation. Many companies make available to their employees plots for construction of houses or flats on lease basis and also bear the part of the burden of interest on house loans. And thus a major term of the worry of the employees is mitigated. Some companies advance loans to their employees on liberal terms for the purchase of vehicles and household appliances. This facility also raises the living standard of the employees. Now, next is the importance for employers. Fringe employer benefits are advantageous to the employers for the following main reasons. Employers have for long been enjoying substantial rebate on these benefits under income tax law. These advantages This advantage has, however, increasingly diminished during more recent years. Nonetheless, employers still receive rebates for expenditure on many of these benefits. In establishments facing chronic problems of unstable workforce and absenteeism, long-term social security benefits such as life insurance cover, provident fund and pension, housing accommodation have proved effective in reducing their incidence. These benefits generally tend to strengthen employees' motivation and efficiency, resulting in higher production and reduction of the labor cost. Many companies have experienced establishment of sound employees and industrial relations as a result of provision of these benefits, especially when these benefits have emanated from agreement with the union. In some cases, the companies have been able to keep wages rates at low level on the grounds of providing substantial benefits to their employees. Provision of these benefits also enhances the prestige of the company in the community and enables competent workers to be attracted towards the company. Fringe employee benefits are also significant for the community and economy. It was during the Second World War period in the US that the concept of fringes emerged in the context of compensation. The War Labor Board, which was entrusted with the responsibility of controlling wage increases, allowed fringe benefits, holding that these would not stand in the way of measures intended to prevent inflation. Even today, such as the premise holds well in the situation of the inflationary pressure under which wages chasing prices and prices changing wages is a usual phenomenon. Availability of fringe benefit diminishes pressures for wage increases, which is helpful in fight against inflation. Besides, many big companies have created infrastructure near workplace in the form of housing colonies, road, park, lighting arrangements, and community educational recreational centers. Marketing centers established by the companies are similarly open to the public. Many other examples may be usually cited to show that the community derives advantages for the benefits intended to be provided for the employer. Now, benefits of fringe benefits in the social and the organizational context. In social context, every society takes care of its member by providing some kinds of benefits. The value and the form of benefits depend on the economic conditions of the society. The basic logic behind such benefit is that the member of the society will enjoy comparatively better lives as compared to what they can enjoy in the absence of these benefits. The objective is not necessarily to make them more efficient to work. Therefore, every country adopts the concept of benefits in its framework which governs the country. For example, Constitution of India provides in this Article 43 that all workers should be given living wage, conditions of working, ensure decent standard of living and fuller employment to social and cultural opportunities. Various benefits and services provided to the employees serve this purpose. और इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल कॉन्टेक्स्ट की बात करें तो सिंस एवरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सोसाइटी इज नॉट सिमिलर टू अदर्स, तो ईच ऑर्गेनाइजेशन adopt its own approach in providing the benefits to the employees. The organization which adopt philanthropic approach provide more generous benefits and services. Now, in general, from the organization point of view, the objective of benefits and services are as follows: to maintain parity with the general practices adopted by other organizations in the same geographical area or industry sector, to provide community and commonly shared services which employees cannot provide individually, to create better image for the organization so as to attract and retain competent employees, to increase morale and work life of the employees so that they can concentrate on their jobs, to satisfy the trade union by providing fringe benefits and services to the employees. Now, the fringe benefits are classified under 5 heads, which are as given below. First, employment security. Benefits under this head include unemployment insurance, technological adjustment pay, leave travel pay, overtime pay, level for negotiation, leave for maternity, leave for grievances, holidays, cost of living bonus, callback pay, layoff, retiring rooms, jobs to the sons, daughters of the employees, and the like. Health protection. Benefits under this head include accident insurance, disability insurance, health insurance, hospitalization, life insurance, medical care, sick benefits, sick leave, etc. Old age and retirement. Benefits under this category include deferred income plans, pensions, statutory provident fund, old age assistance, old age counseling, and the medical benefits for the retired employees, traveling concession to retired employees, jobs to sons and daughters of the deceased employee, and the like. Now the next is the old age and retirement is done, and a personal identification, participation, and stimulation. This category covers the benefits like anniversary awards, attendance bonus, canteen, cooperative credit societies, educational facilities, beauty parlor services, housing, income tax aid, counseling, quality bonus, recreational programs, stress counseling, safety measures, etc. Other miscellaneous categories. Payment for the time not worked. Benefits under this category include sick leave with pay, vacation pay, paid rest and relief time, paid lunch periods, grievances time, bargaining time, travel time, etc. Extra pay for the time worked. This category covers the benefits such as the premium pay, incentive bonus, shift premium, old age insurance, profit sharing, unemployment compensation, Christmas bonus, Diwali or Puja bonus, food cost subsidy, housing subsidy, and recreation. Retrenchment compensation. The Industrial Disputes Act 1947 provides for the payment of compensation in case of layoff and retrenchment. The non-seasonal industrial establishment employing 50 or more workers have to give 1 month's notice or 1 month's wages to all workers who are retrenched after 1 year's continuous service. The compensation is paid at the rate of the 15 days wage for every completed year of the service, with a maximum of 45 days wage in a year. Workers are eligible for compensation as stated above, even in the case of the closing down of undertakings. Layoff compensation. Layoff is the temporary suspension or permanent termination of the employment of an employee or a group of employees for business reasons, such as the decision that certain positions are no longer necessary or business slowdown and interruption in work. Originally, the term layoff referred exclusively to a temporary interruption in work, as when factory work cyclically falls off. In case of layoff, employees are entitled to layoff compensation at the rate to the 50% of the total of the basic wage and earners allowance for the period of their layoff except for the weekly holidays. Layoff compensation normally be paid up to the 45 days in a year. Now, the last topic is fringe benefits and HR administration with problems and steps. Following are the problem faced in the administration of benefits and services. Workers have different interest in benefits and services. Trade unions oppose such schemes. Workers and managers do not have knowledge about the benefit policy of the company. Managers are overloaded with work, hence they are not able to pay proper attention towards the administration of benefits and services. Lack of training in the administration of the benefits and services. Lack of training in administration of benefits and services, and administration of benefits and services must be proper, otherwise it will lead to confusion. Following steps must be taken for effective management of benefits and services: study of environmental factors, competitor schemes and their administration, formulation of benefit and service objectives, fixing responsibilities of administration of benefits and services, communications of scheme to the employees and trade unions, control of the cost of benefits and services, review of existing schemes. Now, this is important key. The following fringe benefits offered by various organizations in India may be following types. The first one is the hours of work. As per Section 15 of the Factories Act 1948, that no adult worker shall be allowed to work in a factory for more than 48 hours in a week and more than 9 hours in a day. Chicken and rest period, tea break or coffee break are allowed during the day to allow the workers to rest. Holidays. An adult worker shall have weekly paid holiday in journal on Sunday or any other day in a week. Shift premium. Shift premium to the workers are required to work during second and third shifts in a day. Workers are eligible for paid vacation from 15 to 30 days in a calendar year. Independence Day holiday package like pays. Independence Day, Republic Day, Gandhi Jayanti, Deepavali, Dussehra, Holi, Eid, Christmas are gadgeted paid holidays. The generally organization offer after double the normal rate of the salary workers work during these days. Sick leave, the employees are entitled to get full day when he is out to work to sick for 10 days in a calendar year. Maternity benefit, women are entitled to maternity leave for 12 weeks. In addition to cash benefit of 25 paise per day or twice of the sickness benefit, whichever is higher. A disabled benefit. The employee are entitled to get the benefit under Workmen Compensation Act if he is disabled temporarily or permanently during employment, injury or occupational diseases, absence leave. The pay is provided to an employee if he is absent from the workplace due to the participating in training and development programs. Next is, एक second, next, before next. क्लास चल रही है अभी नहीं अभी नहीं कुछ और हाँ ले 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 अच्छा Canteens. Fully or partially subsidized foods and refreshment is provided to the employees during working hours. Transport facilities. Many organizations are providing conveyance facilities to employees from their residence to workplace and back. The big houses are providing company owners housing or subsidized housing facilities to their employees. Purchasing facilities. Many of the large organizations have set up the consumer stores in the employees' colonies and supply all essential goods and services at fair prices. Educational services. Educational services include tuition fees, refunds, scholarships, getting above the schools and colleges, libraries, and many more. These facilities not only provide to the employees of the organization but also to their family members. Medical facilities. These includes clinics, hospitals, and counseling services. It reduces tiredness, absenteeism, and employee turnover. Financial and legal aid. Many organizations are provided loan, funds, income tax services, assistance in legal matters, and group insurance plans to their employees. Recreational facilities. Organization provides clubs, arrange parties and picnics, reading rooms, libraries, and entertainment programs for their employees. Travel concessions. Many organizations are providing leave and travel concessions one time in a financial year to their employees. And the last one is the miscellaneous. Many organizations are providing other benefits to their employees such as the Deepavali gifts, birthday gifts, puja gifts, and productivity or performance rewards, etc. Okay, done with today's topic. Next would be on your next and the last class of this semester.